days ago, but now they can call me Batman.
What up? Welcome back once again to the Necro Zoo. I am Bones. And in this one, we're going to add one more figure to my McFarlane DC Multiverse collection. Now this time it will be General Zod. Now there has not really been many General Zod figures made up to this point. You do have many from live action and a couple of DC Direct comic versions, but they are very far and few between. So this will actually be my first Zod figure, since I was never really a big live action figure collector, at least up to before McFarlane started doing them. And I am pretty interested to take a look at this guy. Now he does look pretty tyrannical in the packaging, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at him. But first, he does come with your standard black DC Multiverse stand. Now these are not really needed, but they do come in useful. He also comes with his data file card. Pretty sweet image of the figure. Always love the skull motif. And on the back, you do have some information. Let's go ahead and add that to the collection. Now this is more of a rebirth version of the character, more comic style, but he does look pretty sweet. Now he does come with some accessories, which is basically a whole lot of hands. He has some fisted hands, some alternate grasping hands, like gesturing hands. So all in all, pretty cool. I mean, I'm not a big alternate hand guy, but when they do give them, it is pretty nice. But usually once you pick the two that you're gonna go with, the rest just go in a fodder box, but that's always nice. Now let's go ahead and take a closer look at them. First impressions. Now I'm really liking the armored look. I'm not so positive how much it is representative of the comics, but he does look pretty cool. Now what I really will give this figure is just the sculpt work is impeccable. Tons of different styles of texture and tons of different styles incorporated into this figure of like line work. This is just McFarlane at his best when it comes to, you know, sculpt work, which they're never gonna skimp out on. So really liking that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt. Loving the beard and the hair. I think they could just use a little bit of highlights, you know, to give it some life. But all in all, it's a really nice head sculpt. Now, some people might get a little bit, you know, put off by when I say this, but I don't know why, but when McFarlane started talking about the mannequin look, now that I'm looking at this guy, he kind of gives me that like lifeless mannequin look, because he's just looking like straight on. So I don't know if the eyes, that's the way the eyes are printed, or if they could have gave him at least a little bit of side eye, like just a slight, you know, look this way. So I do kind of see what McFarlane talks about when they just have that straight blank look, you know, with no life in them. So I'm kind of coming around to that, because this guy definitely could benefit from something with the eyes. Maybe they should have even went with more of a red eye scape, you know, like where it's black with the red pupils. It might have given him a more menacing look. But all in all, the sculpt work is nice, the paint is nice. It's just the eyes putting me off a little bit there. Now let's take a look at the articulation of the head. Now he cannot look up too far, but we are going to mod that to where he will be able to look up. And once you do mod it, he is able to look substantially up. Like if you wanted to get him into a flying pose or something like that, now he looks, you know, has more range to look up. And that is simply by making a little, you know, divot in the neck porthole on the back, and it doesn't really change anything. You can't really see it, it's not noticeable, but it does give him more range in his head. So he looks up pretty nice. He looks down. to the right, to the left, and then you can tilt his head for some attitude. So all in all, pretty cool for the head articulation. Now let's move down. Like I said before, tons of armor sculpt in here. Just looks really, really nice, really amazing work that they did on this figure. I think if you gave him a little bit of more brighter colors, like the light blue on his chest and then the gold on the symbol here, like below his sternum, it would give it like a little bit more pop, more separation to the eye. So I might be looking at doing that. But all in all, really nice upper body sculpt. Let's take a look at the articulation. You have side to side, that whole range of motion at the waist. He can bend forward, can bend back, and you can twist him for some cool poses. So all in all, amazing articulation. Now this one is really smooth and really crisp, like it just flows. So McFarlane's getting a lot better in the waist articulation, which is good to show us, like some progression into a smoother articulation scheme for the figures. Let's go ahead and look at the arm. Now this side is blocked a little bit by the cape shoulder pad that it has, but he does have 2 shoulder pauldrons on each side. So he does have butterfly shoulder joints. The shoulder pauldrons do move out of the way, so you can basically get him in a T-pose. He does have bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then the wrist articulation. Now moving into the gauntlets or the forearm guards, more beautiful sculpt work in there, and it actually transitions really nice from that into the hand to where you cannot see that ball joint, but you still have the range of motion, which is always cool. Going down to the lower body, let's take a look at his thigh swivel. This one's, really not a lot of thigh swivel there. You can tell where it wants to go, but it's just a little bit tight. But you can still pop out his leg like this, and he still has that cool hip articulation where you could move it in and out like this. Straighten him out, and then he does have double jointed knees. For the ankle articulation, you got up, you got down, left to right, rocker, and of course toe articulation. Now let's look at this lower body, because honestly this lower body is amazing. Like the sculpt work, the detail, like just look at the boots, how much detail is in there. Then he has a really awesome like grain on the, like about the shin part of the boot. If you look at it really close, it's just like a unique, sculpt that you don't really see a lot. And then moving up, he does have like beautiful work on the whole suit. Like if the whole suit was just black with these same glyphs, it would actually be an awesome Zod figure. Like minus all the armor that makes him like really bulky, but still pretty nice. And of course, the pins on the lower part of the boot are black, but we can go ahead and paint them in silver, and it's a really easy fix. I have done this, and they look really nice. Okay. Take a look at the bottom. Not really tread, but it does have that outer ridge and no identifying marks. Moving up the back, we do continue with the beautiful sculpt and line work into the back. There's a little details that you could paint, like to add some gold and some red, just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. And then of course you have this beautiful cape. Now this is one of the nicer capes. You look at it, it has like a cool micro texture there, and the folds in it are really nice, and it's light. Comes to make me Makes me wonder how he would look without this cape. But you would have to separate it from the front emblem here on the chest, and I just really don't feel like doing that right now. But you never know. We might do it once I get another one, or you never know if I want to customize this guy to give him a removable cape. So we'll look at that in the future. But all in all, a really beautiful figure. Don't get too many Zod figures, like I said. So it's really nice to get one from McFarlane. Now, before we go, let's bring in some figures to compare them to. First of all, the more armored Superboy Prime. These guys actually look really nice together. You can tell they come from the same family. And then let's do my custom Rebirth Superman with all the little pins and whistles that I added to him. And then let's go ahead and bring in my ultimate light blue Superman based on the original Superman 1000. He's got that light blue color and the same thing. I just added cool stuff to him. Use the chest emblem on the infected Superman body to make this guy. Really, the pinnacle of a Superman that I have is my custom one. He just looks great. Really awesome figures. Now, of course, these guys were already at Walmart, but they're starting to disappear. So you guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.